Hello, popcorn junkies. Welcome to this trailer reaction. It's late. For those of you who know the channel, you'll know only too well why things are a little late. This is a trailer reaction to the new Spielberg film. Now, this trailer or teaser landed before Christmas. It landed around the time, actually, that the interstellar object 3I Atlas was due to make its closest approach to Earth. And a number of you were like, my God, if ever there was a trailer reaction that Mark has to do, it's this one. It's Spielberg, it's UFOs. Oh, what not to like? Now, the only other time that I've really known Spielberg deal directly with UFOs rather than extraterrestrials, well, not the only time, but the first time that he did it in a way that I thought was sort of like French New Wave cinema, partly helped by Francois Truffaut being in the film, was Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which I think is a massively underrated sci-fi classic, along the lines of, you know, things like Blade Runner and what have you. And so this is a new film by Spielberg, and the reason I'm slightly hesitant about stepping towards this with all the excitement that one would normally have had, say, I don't know, 30 years ago, or when I was in my teens or 20s, is that that was 30 years ago. And while Spielberg is still a brilliant filmmaker, he can be a bit hit or miss. His sentimentalism can get a little bit in the way. Some of the choices he makes can be a little bit obvious. That said, you know, things like The Fabelmans, was it his sort of autobiography film? I enjoyed that. Very mainstream, very running towards syrupy. So I wouldn't say that I'm as big a fan of the more recent films by Spielberg in recent years than I was of all those early kind of genre-busting movies that he made, like Duel, Jaws, Close Encounters, E.T., all that sort of stuff. So it's with vague excitement I go into this. Now, some of the other things that get me excited about this from the get-go are things like Josh O'Connor being in there. My review of Knives Out, Wake Up, Dead Man is coming soon, and that stars Josh O'Connor. And Josh O'Connor, in fact, is one of the biggest draws to the Knives Out third episode in the franchise. So Josh O'Connor is a big reason for me to watch this. I've been a massive fan of his in anything else other than the Knives Out film. But Josh O'Connor's in there, Colin Firth is in there, Colman Domingo, Willie Russell, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt becoming a bit generic. Anyway, so let's hope that this doesn't feel generic. It doesn't feel Netflixy, that it has something about it that feels a bit Spielbergian in that original sense of things. I do worry sometimes that Spielberg can never really recapture the inbuilt almost nostalgia and cleverness of his early films. Even though he didn't direct it, something like Back to the Future is quintessentially from the Spielbergian stable. So without further ado, this is Disclosure Day. Will there ever be disclosure in America? Will anyone say anything about anything? The fact that 3I Atlas, the interstellar object, is, you know, moving away from us now and towards Jupiter, there is more and more info coming from analytics that we got on its closest approach to Earth that are telling us or screaming out that 3I Atlas is anything but normal. Anything but normal. So without further ado, this is Disclosure Day.
If you found out we weren't alone, if someone showed you, proved it to you, would that frighten you?
Good morning, Kansas City. Let's take a look at today. Today is today's.
People have a right to know the truth. It belongs to 7 billion people.
What is it?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm gonna show you.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world. All at once. People keep wondering. Encountering the unknown.
They're coming! They're coming!
They are starved for the truth.
Do you think there could be others?
Why would he make such a vast universe? Yet save it only for us?
Well, there's a lot to like in there, actually, if I'm honest. Put into the side that I find Emily Blunt looks weirder and weirder with every film that I see her in. Josh O'Connor in here, I think very much in a weird way, reprising the role of Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters, you know, sort of informal, backpack, kind of knows everything, kind of believes it all and wants to reveal the kind of the truth and all that kind of stuff. Feels he has the knowledge, perhaps has the keys to full disclosure. All of the animals, wildlife kind of turning towards the humans. I quite liked that. I wasn't too sure about the girl in the bed. Was she CGI? She looked, the head didn't look real. So that threw me for a minute there. I was sort of thinking, oh, she doesn't look real. The bird landing on the table. And then Emily Blunt's, that quite arresting moment where she starts to sort of click whilst reading the weather or delivering a weather broadcast. And I sometimes wonder, I don't know if any of you have seen the film Begonia, the Yorgos Lanthimos film, and the final scene or the final sequence in that film is, spoiler alert, is basically humanity having been decimated by a sort of poisoning of the air by aliens. Something that actually the professor from Harvard, Avi Loeb, suggested could potentially happen with Three-Eye Atlas. And so sometimes I wonder whether actually, yes, when aliens land or when disclosure happens, maybe it won't happen in the most obvious fashion, i.e. a spaceship landing, a la Close Encounters, aliens popping out of the ship and us kind of communicating with them. Maybe it will happen in our response, or a shift in the way that lives and creatures and animals and things on the planet exist. Like Josh O'Connor in there, like Emily Blunt, hate the graphics around them. Again, the interstitials, the titles look so cheap. Someone needs to get on top of these trailer fonts. The trailer fonts are always so bad. We've got crop circles, bit obs, you know, we've done crop circles a million times. Like the music. I also quite like the fact that you've got the SWAT squads going in. The idea that this is who? The FBI? All the suspicion that there has been around NASA sort of withholding information about the interstellar object in recent months. And if you think that's a theme that's kind of cropped up a lot in Spielberg's films, if you go back to E.T., the sort of faceless, bureaucratic kind of authorities that just come in and put your house on sort of lockdown and then bring in the biohazard people and all that kind of stuff. The idea that something's being, something's being restrained, something's being kept secret. That if you're about to reveal full disclosure of UFOs and alien life and extraterrestrial life, that in fact the authorities don't want you to do it. I did get a little bit concerned when I saw the kind of deer and the girl, who I thought and think might be CGI herself, and a fox and a raccoon maybe walking towards a house. That looked a bit twee. It looked a bit Disney-fied, but there's a lot to like in there actually. So I'm quite excited about that.